All right. In the previous video, we calculated the average of the two tests and stored them in a column called test average. What if we want to sort, before we sorting the data, what if I want to change the index of this data set? What is the index? An index is basically a key to each record. And right now, the index is either 0, 1, or 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, until the number of count. But when you go to a these numbers don't mean anything. What means to the student is their student ID. So if I want to change the index to be my student ID, all I have to do, should say the name of the data column, the name of the data frame, which is data2, underscore set index, right? It's actually data2 dot set index underscore, and then we will put the new index name. Same thing with the in place equal true or false. If you don't put in place equal true, it does not change. It only changes it in that set and this cell. So I'm going to change it to the ID, and then I'm going to say comma in place equal to true. So now from this point onward, the index for this data frame is ID, not test1, not that number. So if I run it and I do this data2.head, you'll notice something different now. So your ID is what? Is your index. Yeah, I don't know why we have this index here. Anyway, I might have done something in the earlier that I ran it twice. So this is now the new index is this one here. And notice it is bold. Yeah. Oh, because I did reset index here. Yeah. You could, if you wanted to change back to the index, which is index 1, you could do this. You say index, reset index, and then that will solve the problem. Yeah. That will change it back to the old index, whatever was the old index. Okay. So to change and to make the student ID is your column, your index, you can do set index and then the name of the column, and then you would say in place equal to true. And that would change the index ID. The index column to the ID. All right. Sorting data. How do we sort data? How do we sort data? You sort data like this. You will put data2 and then dot sort underscore values. Let me just add a comment here. So I'm going to say sort the data frame based on the final exam score, right? I want to see who scored the highest on the final exam or the lowest, either way. Now, when we say sort data and then you put values and then the column name in this case is what? The final exam. Then you will say the option. Here you can have 3 parameters. Ascending equal true or false, and in place equal true or false. So if I say, when you sort data, it's either ascending or descending. Ascending meaning from smallest to highest. Descending mean what? highest to smallest, the other way around. And I'll show you how we use this example. So if I say data2.sort values final exam, and then I say ascending equal to true. What does that mean now? Ascending equal to true. It means that it will start from the lowest to the highest. Now notice I did not put in place equal to true. So now it's going to show you the result. So for example, if I do run, you'll notice that, look at your final exam, all the data in the final exam are sorted from highest to lowest. Yeah. But again, when we do this, this one will take effect only in that command, in this cell. So if I run data head again or data tail again, you'll see that the data is not sorted. It's still the same. I want to make sure I'm recording. All right. So that is how we sort the data. We will put the name, the command data, the data frame, dot sort underscore values, mean that I could sort by more than one value, and then final exam and ascending equal to true. Yeah. Now, what happens here, if I want to keep the changes and sort them that way, what do we have to do? What we'll have to do is that we will have to put in place equal to true. Because if I say data2 right now, that head, you'll notice that the data is not actually sorted, 26, 28, 20, so it's not sorted. So if I want to sort it and keep it sorted, what do we have to do? We will copy paste this guy, command copy, and then command V, like that. But here, what do I'm going to say? What are we going to say? In place equal what? True, right? So when I run this command, now it will sort the data and keep the sort in place. So if I run this, you don't see the result, but now if I say data2.head, what will it show you? It'll show you that the data is sorting. Notice the 20, it says 20, the next one is higher, higher, and higher. So this one sort the data by final exam. And keep the changes, right? What about based on what we did, can you answer questions like this? It says, show me the students that scored the highest of the exam, the top 5 students. Show me the students that scored the least on the final exam. Can we use what we did to solve this problem? How would you do it? Because the data is sorted, I can use the head command to show me the upper portion, or the tail command to show you the lowest portion. So if I'm looking at the data, if I want to sort the data to be the student that scored the highest, the top, what do we do here? How would we change that? Instead of this command, what do we do? So I'm just gonna rewrite the problem. I'm gonna say, show me the student that scored the highest. Show me the top 5 students. Or top 3, yeah, 5 students, it's okay. That scored the highest on what? On the final exam. Yeah. I'm going to change. Okay, again, you don't have to do this sort again, because all you do, you can use the head and tail command and it will show you the result. But because I want the top student at the top and then going downward, I will change this, sort the data by the final exam. Now ascending equal false. Ascending equal false means it's the opposite. It means descending. So the top will be on the top and then going downward. Right? And now watch what will happen. And if I say data to dot head in the same cell, it shows me, first it sorts the data highest to lowest, then I display the top 5, and notice what you get. You get the 28, 28, 28, 26. So it shows you the highest values on top and the lowest values underneath it. So with sorting data, you can answer questions like these. Give me the highest, the student scored the highest. Give me the students scored the lowest, and so forth, right? You can sort multiple columns. Remember when you say sort by values? You can sort by, for example, final exam, and by, let's say, by the average of those two tests. First, I want to sort by the final exam, then the average of test 1 and test 2. So when you have two columns, what can you do? So if I say sort the data by the final exam, and then by the average of test 1 test 1. Remember, we have already calculated this average, which is called test AVG. So how do we sort the data? By two more than one column. I'm going to copy paste again this command, data2 dot sort underscore values. I have the final exam as my first column, but I want to add another column to it. So the other column that I want to sort by is called test 2. So if I say test 2 here, sorry, test average is my other column that I want to sort by here, right? Now I have the option. I can sort ascending or descending for the first column, or ascending or descending for the second column. So I have different options. So if I want ascending for both of them, I can do ascending, but now I have to put the values, the different options for both of them. So if I want ascending equal true for this and ascending equal true for this, what do? I will put the bracket like this, another bracket, and now I will put the options. So if I say true for both, so this one will be ascending for the final exam and ascending for the test average. Because the data that we have here is limited, you're not going to see the result. But let me show you. If I run it, if I do data, I'm just going to display the entire data here, data 2, and I run it. Notice this. So ascending, notice I'm ascending, the highest will be here, right? But let's look for a value that is repeated. So here's 20, 20, 22, 22, 22, right? Do you see this? So my first option is to sort the data by 22, 22, 22. But notice here, the data on test average within this 22 is also sorted. So 13, 13, 16, 18, 19, and so forth. So you only see it when you have repeated values. Why? Because here, again, it's back to 13 for this value. You got the idea? And again, 14, 17 for this value. So we first sort the data by the final exam, then we sort the data by this test average column, right? So the way you do that, you will put the the name of the first column, the name of the second column, then your options. How do you want to sort the data? If you wanted to do one or the other, for example, if I wanted to sort the data for the first one is true, but the second one, I want to see them descending order. How do I do that? I'm going to copy this cell, and I'm going to show you a different way of doing it, in case you see it. So sort data. So I'm going to sort the data by the final exam and then by the average, test average for test one, ascending or descending, right? Okay. How do we do this? Same column, test one, test two. And then here I'm going to say for the first column is true, for the second column is false, because I want it to be descending from top to bottom. All right. So you can use also another option. You can use ones and zeros. So if you use 1, it means equal to true. If you use 0, it's equal false. So if I say 1 equal true and 0 and the second one equal false, it means that for the first option, it will be ascending. For the second option, it will be descending. So, and I'm going to again display the data after we run this. So watch what happens. It did okay, but now if I look at the data, all data again, and I do run, watch what happens. For the first column, it is ascending, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 22. But notice for the second column, it's the opposite, descending. 19, 18, 16, 13 for the second column, right? And if you compare the two, this one, this was 22, 13 and going up. Here it is 22 and then 19 and going down. So that's what you do with descending or ascending. So with the sort command, you can do a lot of stuff to answer questions. You know, at the end of the day, what is data analysis? Data analysis is to answer business questions. So if you have with these little functions, you can answer a lot of what if scenario. In Excel, you could do that, but it's not as intuitive as this. With a little bit of scripting, you can do things a lot quicker, and you don't need Excel to do it. Yeah. Is this clear? Yeah. So that is related to ascending and sorting data. I'm going to stop here. Before I stop here, I'll show you another command. In your exam, this is the point where you are responsible for. Okay, so this is the last part that you will be on the midterm. This is what you will be responsible for. All right. But let me explain one more thing before I finish. And this is that part that will be included in the exam. The other part, you notice that when we are doing stuff like this, where is the data sorted? In the same data frame. So, or when we added calculation here, and when we changed the test example, for example, we added 2 to the final exam. Where was that equation? Right here. We added to the existing data frame. What if I want to take this data and store it in another data frame? So after I do the calculations, I want to take the result and put it in another data frame. How do we do that? You can create a copy of a data frame. Right now we have data frame 1, data 1, and data 2. So if I say same command here that I'm going to copy, and store the result. I'm adding another thing to it. And store the result in a new data frame called D3, data 3. Yeah, data 3. All you have to do is that before your command, you will say data 3 equal this. So it will execute this command, and the result is now stored where? In data 3. That way, you don't have to do in place anymore, equal to true. So if you want to keep your original data the same way that you've read it, you can do stuff like this. You can execute a command and store the result in another data frame. You got it? So watch what happens now. Now I have a new data frame. But this data frame has the data sorted by the final exam and then the test average. So if I say data 3 right now and then run it, you'll see that I have a new data with T1 as my test, with my data sorted by final exam, and then by the test average. All right? So in your exam, if they ask you to sort the data or do something with the data and store it in another data frame, all you have to do, you will put the name of the data frame in the front, and then you say equal whatever command that you're asked to do. All right? I'm going to stop these videos, and then the next time I'll show you how to do other stuff like reading data from 2 sheets and combining into one. All right?